Okay, so today I'm reading a book called The Wolf's Call. I know where I'm up to. Great lord of wide renown, the bearded man said, in near-perfect realm tongue, he and the warrior both bowing, on behalf of Lian Sha, ruler by the grace of heaven, of the many lands of the venerable kingdom, I, Khan Shan, offer greetings and gifts. A member of the retinue, plainly attired in garb of black cotton, moved forward in a low crouch. He kept his eyes averted as he approached the dais to set a small chest down on the first step. Please, Khan Shan went on, accept this most unworthy offering as but the first of what we hope will be many tokens of esteem between our kingdoms. This is not a kingdom, Valen said, getting up from the Lord's chair to retrieve the box, merely a province, and all gifts presented here are the property of my queen. He opened the box to find 4 jewels set into a velvet cushion, each one different in color. Ruby, sapphire, emerald, and diamond, Ellie said, coming to his side, her face suddenly alive with curiosity. Each one at least twice the average weight, I'd say. Valen had noted before how her interest became piqued by only 3 things: the prospect of combat, handsome young men, and anything related to money. He supposed she had Reva to thank for the first lady, Velis to thank for the second, and no one for the third. Lina always likes jewels, he thought, returning his gaze to the chest as he thought of the various trinkets with which the queen adored herself, though she'd probably consider the size vulgar. A fine gift, Ambassador Kong, he told the bearded man, closing the chest and beckoning a guard forward to take it. I'm sure she will be pleased. He saw a slight hesitation in the ambassador's response. Valen knew the notion of a woman holding authority over men was largely alien in the far west, even sacrilegious in some places. The ambassador, however, was willing to suffer the ignominy today. As will our king, I'm sure, he said, bowing again before extending a long nailed hand to the warrior at his side. May I present General Gan Nishin, commander of the 7th cohort of the venerable host. Valen gave the man a courteous nod. General, I regret the general has only a partial understanding of your language, Khan Shan said. Therefore I shall be our king's voice at this meeting. Valen pursed his lips and smiled at General Gan before addressing him to Chu Xin, the far western dialect most commonly spoken by merchants and officials. If you can't talk to us, why did your king send you? He asked, giving a pointed glance at the man's sword. Was it to fight us? He saw a flicker of amusement in the general's face before he grunted a response. If I was here to fight you, I wouldn't have bowed first. An enemy deserving of war requires neither respect nor mercy. It was Valen knew, an old saying drawn from the works of one of the innumerable philosophers to feature in far western history, but not one he could name. His education in such things was far from complete. You speak Chu Xin well, my lord, Ambassador Kong said. We were not aware your accomplishments extended so far. Valen gave a small shrug. My tutor tells me my accent is somewhat variable and my vocabulary still lacking. I do continue to learn, however. Every year more and more people arrive here from the lands of the merchant kings, seeking to discuss all manner of business. It seems churlish not to converse in their own language. The man began to voice another compliment, but Valen waved him to silence. You, however, are too high in rank to be here on business of purely mercantile nature, and you bring a soldier. This I find very curious. The kind of indirect allusion he had learned from prior dealings with far Western officials was the expected when conversing with emissaries from the merchant realms. Simply asking, "What do you want?" would have been considerable affront to the ambassador's dignity. My lord is as insightful as he is valiant, Khan said. Although there is in fact a commercial aspect to our mission. We are here to negotiate purchase, but it does not concern any riches found in these lands. He waved forward another member of his retinue. This one bearing an intricately engraved tubular bronze case. The man's pose was identical to his colleague's, crouched and eyes averted to display of level civility. Even the Volarians might have balked at. He attempted to place the tube on the first step of the dais, but stopped when Valen reached down and took it from him with a soft murmur of thanks. The man started, eyes wide as he raised them briefly. Valen noted the thin scar that traced from the man's brow to his severely combed and lacquered hair. Another warrior? He wondered as the servant quickly lowered his gaze, head bobbing as he retreated back to the ranks of the retinue. It seemed unlikely such an embassy would travel without some kind of bodyguard. Turning his attention to the tube, Valen removed the ornate cap to extract the scroll within. and failing it to reveal too carefully crafted, if somewhat fanciful drawings. At the top was a crossbow-shaped device, twice the height of a man, casting forth a torrent of bolts like a fountain. Beneath it, an even larger contraption shaped like a giant bottle spewed a thick cascade of flame onto the deck of the ship. "I see," he said, handing the scroll to Irvin with a raised eyebrow. The North Guard commander scanned it briefly before letting out a faintly amused snort. "We believe the render to be accurate," Ambassador Khan said. "Your dimensions are off," Phelan told him, resuming his seat. "You know these devices?" General Gan asked. "I should. They were crafted by my own sister." The man exchanged a brief glance with Khan and doubtful frown on both their brows. Women rulers, women artificers, Phelan thought. How strange we must seem. "But they work as depicted?" Gian asked. "The first is a type of ballista that can cast 50 bolts at a target in less than a minute. The second can issue a jet of fire capable of consuming any ship within seconds." "Yes," Phelan's voice faded as he recalled the many times he had held Eleanor, shuddering from all the wake from yet another nightmare. "They kept asking me why," she would whisper, "even as they burn. They want to know why. It wouldn't be so bad if they just screamed." "Yes, they work very well." He gave an apologetic smile before continuing in brisk tone. "Good sirs, it grieves me to inform you that your journey has been wasted. By order of the Queen's word, these devices are not for sale at any price." Both ambassadors responded differently, General Gan's blunt features bunching in a frown, whilst Khan passed an empty smile on his face. "You have not yet heard the price we are willing to offer, my lord," he said. "The gift we have already provided is but a small token in comparison, a mere symbol of our king's intent." "I am not governed by your king's intent," Phelan replied, "but my queen's, and she has decreed these weapons remain solely in the hands of her own host. I am sure a man of your intellect will be quick to understand her reasoning." General Gan let out a sigh, his lips forming a sardonic grin. "Sell a neighbor a dog and he'll train it to bite you," he muttered in an accent far more coarse than before. The general, it seemed, was not of noble origins. "Quite so, good sir," Phelan said. "If the devices cannot be purchased," Khan continued. Phelan detected a surprising note of desperation in his voice. "Then perhaps the expertise to craft engines of equal effectiveness could. Is your sister here? I should greatly enjoy making her acquaintance." My sister currently resides in Varen's Hold, Balin told him, voice hardening into a less than courteous tone, where she serves the principal of the Royal College of Arts. I assure you any approach you might make to her will be swiftly refused. She has no desire to ever craft another weapon of any kind. Khan's smile faltered, a narrowing of his eyes bespeaking the level of insult he had suffered. Nevertheless, he recovered quickly, forming his long-nailed hands into a symmetrical clasp. Balin recognized as a gesture used in calming meditation. In that case, my lord, I must request that we be permitted to appeal directly to your queen. If you will allow us to continue to enjoy your hospitality for a few more days, I will compose a formal proposal. As you wish, Phelan said. The Queen is currently touring Valoran dominions, so it may be months before you receive a response. I should caution you, however, that I find it highly unlikely she will accede to your request. Nevertheless, as you are bound by your queen's word, I am bound by my king's. Khan bowed again, then paused, a flicker of irritation passing across his lined features as Gian murmured an unfamiliar word. It sounded to Valen much like Chu Shin word for whore, but with a more prolonged inflection. Does he expect me to procure him a woman? Valen wondered as Khan forced another smile. If you will allow me to raise another, hopefully less contentious matter, my lord, the ambassador said, the renown of the warriors in your realm is acclaimed across the world entire, particularly the archers of the southern lands and the horsefolk of the northern plains. Our king is highly desirous of witnessing their skills with his own eyes. If we could be permitted to invite some to return with us to the venerable kingdom, it would be greatly appreciated. They will, of course, receive generous compensation. First weapons, now mercenaries, Valen mused. The venerable kingdom is troubled, it seems. All subjects of the realm are free men and women, he said, and may go where they wish. However, I should advise you that whilst you surely have some success in recruiting archers from Cumbrail, the Eorhill rarely venture from the plains unless in direct need. Still, some of them may be curious to see what manner of horses you breed in your kingdom. A moment, if you will, good sirs. He beckoned Orvan closer, speaking in Eorhill. They want to recruit mercenaries from amongst our wives' people, your wives' people. Then they'll be wasting their time, Orvan replied with a bemused frown. I know, but I'm keen to find out why, and I doubt I'll get a straight answer from the old man. The warrior, however. Orvan gave a nod of understanding. But I don't speak his tongue, my lord. I ruse. I suspect he speaks realm tongue just as well as the old man does. Perhaps he'll demonstrate how well after you share some wine at the campfire. Balin turned to the ambassadors, switching back to Chushin. Whilst Ambassador Khan composes his missive to the Queen, perhaps General Gan would like to journey forth to meet with his message. It says missive. Perhaps General Gan would like a journey forth to meet with Hill. Lord Commander Orvan will make the introductions. He knows them very well. The general exchanged a brief glance with Kong before bowing and offering a gruff agreement. There were more infusions of gratitude from Ambassador Kong, accompanied by more bowing before the embassy finally made its exit and Valen decreed petition day at an end. The few remaining petitioners exuded a low grumble of disappointment as they filed out, but knew better than to make an overt protestation. To Valen's surprise, Elise remained in her seat as the chamber cleared, a rare, contemplative frown on her brow. Something wrong? He asked her. The man with the scroll, she said. He had a scar. Yes, I saw. You did well to spot it. He's a warrior of some kind, or more likely a spy. The Merchant Kings are well known for their fondness for espionage. Don't worry, we have our own spies. Lord Orvan ensured they have been closely watched since their arrival. It wasn't just the scar, she trailed off, shaking her head and rising from her chair. It seems I can never escape my suspicious nature, Mother's influence. I'll forgo dinner, if you don't mind, Uncle. Delightful as I find your company, I really should check on Scrapper. She's still a youngster, gets jittery if she's on her own for too long. Scrapper was Elise's horse, which meant she intended to visit the stables where Shelmon, the outlaw turned indentured servant, would be bedding down for the night. The urge to order her to her room was strong, as was the desire to nail it shut for the next few years. But Valen knew such tactics had failed before. The tie-dye binder leash, Rover's letter had said, the more delight she takes in breaking it. He was tempted to remind Elise of her words to Ulnar, but stopped his tongue. In all likelihood, she had already sought out a wise woman with the requisite herbs. Instead, he said, be back before the changing of midnight watch. I will, she stepped close to peck a kiss on his cheek before hurrying off. Love you, Uncle. Thanks for taking me hunting.